Hello friend, welcome back to my kitchen. If you're new, my name is Becky and today we are gonna be making tonight's dinner and dessert. I don't know if you've seen online, there's this viral dump and bake recipe for dumplings. Well, we are gonna make that together, but we're not making that together tonight. That got me thinking, basically the concept of throwing everything into a baking dish, putting it in the oven and baking it just seems so incredibly easy, less mess, less stress, especially for a weeknight dinner. And so we are gonna be making the viral dumpling and curry coconut sauce, but I printed off three other recipes actually, and I asked Josh, what did you want for dinner tonight out of these recipes? All of the recipes we're gonna be making are dump and bake recipes. And when I say dump and bake, I mean we're gonna put all of our ingredients into our baking dish, not cooked. So our noodles aren't gonna be cooked. Now technically these meatballs are already cooked, but we're not gonna cook anything prior on the stove before we put it in our baking dish and throw it in the oven. So we have 3 dinners that we're gonna be making. We are going to do tonight's dinner, which is going to be chicken meatballs with rigatoni and marinara sauce. It's gonna be a cream, like a red cream based sauce. It's basically gonna be kind of like a baked ziti. And then we're going to do a chicken and rice one that I will make a yogurt sauce to go on the side. We're gonna do the viral dumpling curry bake, which I am so excited for. And then tonight we're gonna make Rice Krispies in the oven. We're not gonna do any of the Rice Krispie making on the stove. It's all gonna be in the oven. I asked Josh which of the 3 recipes he wanted for dinner tonight, and he picked the baked, it's actually called Delicious No Boil Pasta Bake recipe. But we're basically going to make like a baked pasta with meatballs. This is what he requested. If you missed it, we just did a marinara taste test and I've got lots of marinara sauce to go through, so it kind of works out perfect that this was his request. And I think this is going to be so incredibly easy here. So I have a 9x13 baking dish. I think I have all the ingredients out I need other than some of the spices. And what I will do is I will link all of these written recipes down below. I've never made any of them. I don't know how the pasta is gonna bake up from being raw going into the oven. I don't know how the rice is gonna bake up going raw into the oven with the chicken raw. And I'm not sure how these Rice Krispies are gonna turn out. And the dumplings must be good because I have seen probably 20 different variations of it, but dumplings are one of our favorite foods. And so if we can do it in the oven and not have to do it on the stove, which I don't really like doing, so we don't eat them that often, even though they were a staple in my household growing up, that would be pretty fantastic. So you and I are gonna figure out if these recipes are as convenient and delicious as they seem. I am gonna be making a few tweaks to this recipe, so I will let you know what those are as we go. But to the bottom of this baking dish, I'm gonna add 8 ounces of dry pasta. And then I have some of these chicken meatballs that I got at Costco. I've never tried these, so I don't know if they're gonna be any good or not, but I have heard from other people that they're really good. And this is going to be our protein source. These are a basil parmesan meatball. They're a chicken meatball, that's why they're light, but you could use whatever your favorite meatball is. Sometimes I have homemade frozen meatballs in my freezer, and right now I don't, so I picked these up at Costco and they smell really good. So we're gonna get those in here. I think I'm gonna make them a little bit more even. Now I'm gonna add our marinara sauce. Now this recipe actually technically called for just diced tomatoes with their juices, but like I said, we just did a marinara taste test and I have a lot of marinara sauce to go through, so I am going to use marinara, and I think we'll like the texture and flavor of this better anyway. And then we need to add some moisture because we've got to cook this pasta. And so I've got some chicken broth. We're gonna pour chicken broth over top, along with some cream. And this recipe called for heavy cream, but my heavy cream did not smell super fresh when I was getting my ingredients out for this, so I'm using half and half. I'm sure that will be just fine. I'm gonna add some Parmesan cheese. I'm not measuring this. That was probably a half a cup. Now, if this turns out to have good texture and good flavor, I could turn this light on, I guess. How easy is that so far? The thought behind this was, this just seems so easy because we don't have to think about sauteing onions or browning ground beef or sausage or getting a pan out for boiling the pasta. We're just mixing it all right into this dish. And what I'm adding now is salt, pepper, lots of garlic powder, and then we've got to shred some cheese. If you have pre-shredded mozzarella cheese, go ahead and use that. Or if you have pre-shredded, you probably could substitute something like a pre-shredded Monterey Jack to just some sort of really delicious melting cheese. Go ahead and do that. I happen to have a little block here, so I'm gonna take a minute here and shred it. And I need enough to mix in, and then I need a little extra because we are going to put it on the top as well. I don't think total this has even taken me, we're not even at 10 minutes yet. So that's pretty good. I'm trying to think. The recipe says how many, 2 cups of mozzarella divided. That's probably one of these. So we're gonna get 1 cup here. And then I'm gonna shred 1 more cup because we're going to wrap this in just a second, pop this in the oven. I have my top oven preheated to 400 degrees and I have my bottom preheated to 350 because we're going to make our dinner in the top oven at 400, and then we're gonna make Rice Krispie treats in the bottom oven. Now, this is gonna take probably a total of less than 15 minutes of my time to pull this dinner together and dessert, but this is gonna take quite a bit of time to bake. We're looking at least an hour of bake time, but it's really, I'm gonna be able to do whatever I need to do in that time while this cooks. I think I'm gonna add a little more cheese. I can shred this other block too. More cheese is never a bad thing in my eyes. Well, that's not true. It can be, but I don't think for this it will be. Just so you know, the 2 changes I did in this, actually 3 technically, is we have meatballs instead of sausage, chicken sausage, but it did call for cooked meat. So that I think is an easy substitution. I have half and half instead of heavy cream. I wasn't about to go to the store to get that when this is what we wanted for dinner, so I think that should be fine. And I used marinara sauce instead of diced tomatoes. I'm just mixing this in a little bit. I kind of want the meatballs to be nestled in the pasta. Maybe I should just mix it totally. Yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and give it a good mix. I have a little bit more chicken broth. I'm gonna measure this out. I might add this too. Yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and add this too. And then what I can do is uncover this for a little bit longer if it needs to thicken up, because I don't know what I'm gonna do with that chicken broth. So I will write up exactly what I did, because obviously I'm kind of making this up as we go along. Yeah, I think it needs that little extra moisture because I did the marinara sauce, not the diced tomatoes. Because I want to make sure there's enough moisture in here for that pasta to fully cook. But that looks perfect there, and it smells delicious. You could add more Italian seasoning to this, fresh basil, fresh parsley, but I think because I used these, what are they? Basil chicken meatballs, I don't think it needs any more herb flavor. I'm gonna double wrap this with foil tightly. Because I do not want the steam escaping from this while it cooks. I should say, another thing I did a little different, basically I'm making this recipe up with inspiration. So I will link the recipe that I'm being inspired by down below. I am using whole wheat rigatoni because I had a half open box and I wanted to use it up. And I'm trying to use a little bit more whole grain ingredients when I cook if I can. The ingredients on this are just organic whole durum wheat flour. There's always a little bit more fiber and just a little bit more nutrients when using whole grain. So I wanted to use this up and I wanted to use a whole grain pasta. So kind of a win-win. Get this in the oven. And this is gonna cook for a good 45 minutes covered. And then we're gonna uncover it, top it with our remaining cheese, which again, I did use more cheese than this recipe called for. So it's gonna be delicious, I think. As long as the texture of the noodles comes out good, I think this will be good because everything that went into there was pretty good. So now that this is cooking, let's go ahead and make our dessert, which is going to be Rice Krispie treats. And I saw this, and I think I also saw the dumpling recipe kind of at the same time, that I was like, this would be a kind of a fun theme to make these recipes. Okay, this looks really easy. I don't know if it could be any easier than this. Okay, let's do this. I'm gonna go ahead and put some of these ingredients away since I'm over here and I can grab my baking dish. I guess we need salt. This recipe doesn't call for salt, but I'm gonna add salt. We've basically got the makings of Rice Krispie treats. And if this works, how easy is this? Well, I need butter. So let me go to, I really thought we had butter because we had pancakes for breakfast this morning and I used butter. I don't know where the butter is. Let me go get butter out of the freezer. Now this recipe calls for 6 tablespoons of butter. I'm gonna go ahead and just use the whole stick, which is 8. That way, I'm not putting just 2 tablespoons of butter back in my fridge. And this is frozen butter. I should get a cutting board out. Now the recipe doesn't say to break up the butter. It just says add 6 tablespoons of butter to the baking dish. But I'm gonna go ahead and just chop it up just a little bit so it's a little bit more even. On the bottom of the baking dish. And it should be a baking dish that's the equivalent of a 9 by 13, which I think this one is. And we're supposed to spray it with some nonstick cooking spray. So to my baking dish, let's get our butter in there. That's kind of why I wanted to cut it up a little bit, just so it could be a little bit more even. Then we're supposed to add an entire bag of marshmallows. How is this all gonna fit in there? Let me double check to make sure it says, yep, 1 10-ounce bag of marshmallows. Is this 10 ounces? This is 16 ounces. Okay, so we only are gonna add half of these. That makes more sense. I was like, how in the world was this gonna fit in there? Let me weigh this so that I can see the difference, because I need to take out 6 ounces of marshmallows. I would have assumed all bags of marshmallows weighed the same, but this is 1 bag of 10-ounce jumbo marshmallows. That is 5.9 ounces, so we're gonna call that 6 ounces. Perfect. Now to this, we're gonna add our Rice Krispies. But first, I'm gonna sprinkle just a little salt because salt and Rice Krispies are delicious. And then, let's see, I kind of tore this bag open, not ideally. So we're gonna go ahead and get 6 cups of Rice Krispies in here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And I think I want these marshmallows more toward the top. I'm layering them in the way this recipe called for, but I also watched a reel, and the reel I watched, the marshmallows on the top were kind of toasted. And so I kind of think I'm gonna do half on the top, half on the bottom, and we'll see how that goes. So I'm half following this recipe, half following a recipe I saw on Instagram. And these are, I think, the best tasting Rice Krispies for Rice Krispie treats. They are a off-brand that I get at a grocery store called Winco. They are kind of toasted. I don't know if you can see, but like right there, the Rice Krispie cereal is actually kind of browned. And I just think it has a lot more flavor for Rice Krispie treats than the name brand. And we're gonna get this in this lower oven here. This one we're not gonna cover, and we're gonna let this bake for 20 minutes uncovered, and then we're gonna mix it together with a rubber spatula, and we're gonna add 2 more cups of Rice Krispies. Remove from oven, mix in 2 more cups of Rice Krispie cereals. Using a rubber spatula, evenly press into pan. Be careful not to press too hard, as this can make the treats too dense. Allow the treats to cool for 20 to 30 minutes before slicing into squares. So this will be perfect timing. That didn't even take me 5 minutes to put together. So we have a good 45 minutes before we can even take the foil off of our dinner. And then we'll be able to pull the Rice Krispies treats out in about 20 minutes, mix them together, let them cool, and then we can have those for dessert tonight. So I do have a little bit of cleanup I need to do, but overall I'm gonna measure out 2 more cups of Rice Krispies so I can put my cereal away, and I will see you back when we take the foil off the pasta. My house smells incredible right now. I just wanted to show you how these are toasting up. It says there's 8 minutes left. Yeah, they're not soft enough to mix in, but we're getting a nice toast. So this might just be the best thing ever, because you're gonna get the beautiful, I gotta close it, it's telling me to close it, toastiness of a marshmallow, plus you don't have to clean the pan from making the Rice Krispies on the stove. Now, typically I enjoy eating what's left in the pan when I make Rice Krispies on the stove, but sometimes that pan can be hard to get clean. So this just might be the best thing ever. Now, they're not soft enough to turn in, so I'm just gonna have to keep a close eye. It said 20 minutes, but the recipe also said to layer butter, marshmallows, crispy treats. So the Rice Krispie treats would be protecting the marshmallows, versus I did butter, half the marshmallows, Rice Krispie treats, half the marshmallows. So I'm just gonna have to keep a close eye that they don't get too toasty on there. I have a couple more minutes on my timer for these Rice Krispies, but I looked over and my goodness, I think they're good. I think I'm gonna pull them out. They are obviously making just a little bit of a mess on the bottom of my oven, but let's see. Let's get these mixed together. I think I can at this point. Oh, I almost just grabbed that. I gotta remember this is hot. Now the recipe said to mix this with the rubber spatula. Mine are in my dishwasher. So I just have this offset spatula, spray a little bit with some oil. Oh my goodness, look at this. The bottom ones, oh, and the butter on the bottom, it's like sizzling. I wonder if it browned a little bit in the oven. Okay. Oh my goodness, this smells so good. Now we need to add the rest of our Rice Krispies. Question is, are these marshmallows soft enough? Is the heat gonna stay in there enough to keep the marshmallows soft to get all of this mixed together? Oh, my timer is going off for the Rice Krispies, but I don't really want to go stop that timer until I have mixed these completely. So the butter on the bottom I think was a good idea because I'm not getting any stickage on the sides. Now, I usually add a whole bag of marshmallows when I make Rice Krispies, but I'm sure you could just use whatever your favorite normal recipe is. This is definitely starting to mix together. Okay, that looks almost perfect there. My timer's going off, my dogs are barking to come in. I'm going to now evenly distribute this. Will we be able to get it out of here? Now, I don't mind if I press down a little bit. The recipe said not to push down too much, but I don't mind doing that. Okay, there is our dessert for tonight. Delicious. I am super happy with how those Rice Krispies are turning out. I was gonna see if I could use this to grab my pot holder, but I cannot. It's been another 10 minutes since I took those Rice Krispies out, so it's been a total of 30 minutes since, maybe 35, since we put this in the oven. It smells super good. I think I'm gonna go ahead and uncover it because I added that little bit of extra broth, and I'm gonna stir it because it's sticking a little bit on the sides here. And I want that broth to evaporate and just get a nice creamy thick sauce. And I want my meatballs to brown a little bit because I think that would add more flavor. So we're just gonna cook the last 15 minutes or so uncovered. The noodles feel like they're starting to get soft here. It smells incredible. I'm gonna go ahead and put this back in there, and we're gonna let that bubble away just like that. My timer went off, so this has now been in the oven for 40 minutes total. Just gonna take a taste test on my noodles just to see where we're at. Oop, I'm dripping. Smells so good. Those are good. Wow, that has great flavor. Okay, definitely needs to be stirred. And we are almost done with this. Looks like it's got a good consistency. Saucy, which is what we like. It's sticking a little bit, so I definitely make a note, probably because of all the cheese in here, to make sure you give it a good stir at least 2 times. That noodle is perfectly cooked. Okay. I probably could have taken the lid off at the 20-minute mark. Now this does not need this next step, probably, because it's pretty cheesy and delicious. But who doesn't love a crispy, golden brown, cheesy bit when making a baked pasta dish? I know I certainly do, and it's my family's favorite. You can definitely see how much it's cooked down. Oh, this is gonna be so good. especially for how easy it was. And then I'm gonna add just a little bit of Parmesan cheese. Now, I think what I'm gonna do, because I like the sauciness of this, we like saucy pasta. I like a higher sauce to pasta ratio. So I'm going to, oh, I can turn my lower oven off. I'm gonna turn this on broil, high, and we're gonna let this broil and get brown and crusty and bubbly and delicious. So what I'm gonna serve this with is some salad green mix. I have some dressing in my fridge. I am mostly just gonna eat the meatballs out of this, and I'm gonna give this a taste test with you. When we're all done, I'll dish it up and show you. I don't think Josh is gonna be able to do a taste test on this one. I will get his thoughts on this one, both with the noodle texture and the meatballs, because they are new meatballs from Costco I've never tried before. But you'll get my taste test. But I'm also, for my family, I am currently pregnant and I'm really trying to keep my blood sugars very low and stable. So that's why I'm mostly gonna eat the meatballs and have this with salad. My family will enjoy the pasta. And I'm also gonna serve it with some bread. This is a whole wheat sourdough that I pulled out of the freezer and heated up. Josh was using this as a taste, with the taste test today. This is really good. I did take a bite of it. And we will serve this with tonight's dinner. So that's another reason why we like a little bit of a saucier pasta, because they will be able to dip their bread in the extra sauce. This is about 4 minutes broiling. That looks perfect. Bubbly golden brown. It smells so rich. I am really glad that I used a marinara sauce. I'm gonna go ahead and turn this off instead of a diced tomato. And I like how the meatballs now have some kind of good color on them. It's been a couple minutes since I've taken this out of the oven. So it's set up really nicely. You can see there's not a ton of liquid. It's super saucy, but it's not runny. So we've got good sauce, not dry, but also not watery. And I'm gonna give this a taste test with you just to let you know my thoughts. Biggest thing is I wanna make sure that this pasta is cooked nicely. I don't want it to be mushy and I don't want it to be crunchy, because obviously we did not cook it separate in a pot of boiling water, which for convenience wise, so easy. I mean, you saw what we did there. We literally dumped, hence the name Dump and Bake. Now Josh does not really like that name. I did not come up with that name, but when I told him that we were gonna be making dump and bake recipes together, he thought, interesting. But the idea of being able to throw everything into a baking dish and throw it in the oven and bake it seems really easy. Rich, delicious. The pasta is not overcooked. Now I just remembered I have some meal prepped butternut squash in my refrigerator. Completely forgot I had that till just now. I will eat my meatballs over that, but I'm happy with how the noodles came out. I'm sure, I don't know, but there might be something to using a whole wheat pasta, it having less of a tendency to get overcooked as opposed to a white noodle pasta. Obviously I haven't tried it, and I'm sure depending on what shape pasta you use, the thickness of the pasta could affect it, but this rigatoni, was this rigatoni? No. Whatever this spiral pasta was, you saw the box of it, which will be in the written recipe that I end up writing up, and the whole wheat version, I think that cooked up really well. I need to set those noodles down because again, I'm personally trying not to eat so much pasta, but I know my family will love that. I will let you know Josh's thoughts. Super happy with the meatballs. Delicious. And I didn't have to make them, so that was really nice. Easy, easy dinner. So we are gonna sit down as a family and I will let you know what Josh's thoughts are, and then we will cut into the Rice Krispies, and I will also let you know what Josh's thoughts are and my thoughts on the convenience of making such a simple dessert. At the end of this cooking extravaganza, Josh and I are going to go over our favorites and what we would change in things. But I'm just going to tell you right here that this was so delicious, but we would make one change. Josh was not a huge fan of these Costco meatballs. He doesn't really like store-bought meatballs. I thought they were pretty good for not having to actually make the meatball. It was very convenient. But I would, I think, in the future, just take Italian sausage links, and I'd make everything else the same, but I would cut up Italian sausage links into bite-sized pieces, put those in there, bake it for the hour, and just check the internal temperature to make sure it reaches the proper internal temperature. And I would keep everything the same, but use an Italian sausage, because Josh and I both love store-bought Italian sausage, but Josh didn't love the store-bought meatball. He ate it and liked it. It just wasn't his favorite. Now, these turned out so well. There is one change that I would do different when it comes to this recipe, is I would go ahead and just use the whole bag of marshmallows. I did not eat any of these. Josh and the rest of my family really enjoyed them, but Josh said that they were a little bit drier than he's used to, and I think that's just because there wasn't as much marshmallow in them. I would use a rectangle 9 by 13, I think has a little bit more surface area than this round one. And I would do everything the same except use the entire bag of marshmallows. And then you would get that consistency of a Rice Krispie that he's more used to. So this was fun. I'm really glad I tried it. I will definitely do this again with a full bag of marshmallows. Good afternoon. We are getting ready to make tonight's dinner. Today has been a wonderful, slow, kind of relaxing day. This morning, I made 3 loaves of banana bread because last time I went grocery shopping, I bought a bunch of bananas because those were requested. We had been flying through them, and then all of a sudden, bam, no one's eating bananas. So I made up 3 loaves of banana bread. After breakfast, I sat and we went over a menu that I'm gonna be having. I'm having friends over for like an October themed dinner party. So I got my menu all figured out for that. And then I went grocery shopping for that. And we just had a quiet, relaxing, low-key day. I am really excited about this tablescape. I've put a lot of thought and energy into what it's gonna look like. I don't know exactly what it's gonna look like for this dinner party this weekend, but I do know it's gonna be completely different than anything I've ever done before. I guess I'm saying all of that because we're gonna make tonight's dinner, and then while tonight's dinner's cooking, I'm gonna prep tomorrow's dinner because I am going to be spending most of the day tomorrow working on prepping the food for the dinner party that I'm having and setting the table. And so I don't really wanna have to think about dinner tomorrow. So that's why we're gonna make tonight's dinner and tomorrow's. Now I did in the Instapot put in a little bit of rice because I asked Josh if he wanted rice with this dinner. We are making tonight the viral 1-pan baked dumplings. And I kind of showed him a picture of what it is and he's like, that looks so good. I did say, do you want this dish or the dish that I'm gonna make for tomorrow? He said he wanted this one for dinner and he wanted rice. Now, when I've seen the videos of this viral recipe, most people don't serve it over rice, but Josh wanted rice, and I think that will go over well with my family. So I have a little bit of rice in the slow cooker, but you do not have to have rice if you don't want to have an extra dish. This looks so easy and delicious. And yesterday when I was cooking, I thought, why didn't I use my brazier pan? Because instead of having to put foil over it, I can just put the lid on it. So that's what we're gonna do today. And I'm gonna put one, I think this is a 14-ounce can. It's 13.5 ounce can of coconut milk in the bottom of this dish. And it looks like the milk solids and the coconut water have separated, which is not a big deal. I can just scoop out the coconut cream. Pot stickers. So basically we're gonna cook the pot stickers in the oven in a curry sauce. And pot stickers were a staple in my house growing up, this brand of pot stickers in particular. My dad did not enjoy these pot stickers, and so we always had them for lunch, and they were just a staple in my house. but they are kind of a mess to make if you've ever made pot stickers. We're not making them from scratch. We're making frozen ones, and they're the same frozen ones I grew up eating. But you have to boil them, and then if you want them crispy, you have to crisp them on the stove. And it always kind of made a little bit of a mess. You had to get 2 pots out and the splattering from crisping them up. And so this just seems super easy. And if it's gone this viral, I'm sure it's really good. So in here we have our can of coconut milk. I'm tempted to put a second one in here, but I'm not going to. I'm gonna follow this recipe a little bit better than I followed the last recipe. But that last recipe turned out so well. I'm gonna put a couple teaspoons of sesame seed oil in here for flavor. And then we're gonna add a couple tablespoons of red curry paste. You could use red curry paste, green curry paste, yellow curry paste, whatever your favorite curry paste is. So I'm gonna use about half this jar. And I think this dish would be so easy. This would be an easy lunch too. I'm gonna mix that together. And then I forgot one ingredient that I'm gonna grab out of the fridge, and that's soy sauce. I'm gonna put a couple dashes of that in here. This is actually coconut aminos, but that's a good substitute. And then optionally, the recipe says you can add fish sauce. I am gonna skip the fish sauce. The recipe says it's optional, and I know Josh would prefer this dinner without fish sauce. So that's basically our base for our sauce. I'm just mixing that in a little bit. I'm gonna go grab the dumplings. These are the dumplings I grew up with from Costco. I think this recipe originated from Trader Joe's dumplings, but you can use probably whatever your favorite brand of pot stickers are. I'm just trying to mix this up a little bit more to get that coconut cream kind of mixed in. It will melt once it goes into the oven. And then this recipe calls, in particular, the one that I actually printed off, spinach, but I have seen probably 6 or 7 videos on how to make this, and everyone calls for different vegetables. We've had spinach lately. We haven't had very much broccoli lately. So when I was at the store getting the ingredients for this dinner party, I saw broccoli and I thought, we're gonna cook this for a good 25 to 30 minutes in the oven. Broccoli will cook in that amount of time. So we're gonna cook our broccoli in this. Oh my gosh, I just destroyed this bag. Josh is always amazed how creative I can get when it comes to opening packaging. And all we have to do is nestle our pot stickers in this sauce. I don't know if it matters how they sit. Some of them are wanting to fall over, some of them are not. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 15. It said about 20. Two, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16. That's close enough. So now I'm gonna go ahead and get my broccoli. You could probably even use frozen broccoli if you wanted to. That would make this even easier. I just rinsed this broccoli off right when I got home from the store. And I'm gonna just take a second and cut it into a little bit more bite-sized pieces. The only thought about frozen broccoli is it might add a little extra moisture that you don't want to this, but then you would just have more of a saucy curry base. But if you wanted a real true, just kind of dump and go, you could use a bigger pan. You could easily double or triple or quadruple this recipe. I think that's about as much as I can fit in there. So that was easy. I'm gonna get the lid on this. We're gonna pop this in the oven. I did preheat the oven to 375 degrees. It's at 325. I think it's gonna be fine if I put that in there like this. And I rechecked the recipe. It says that this needs to cook for 30 minutes. We have one more thing we're gonna prep for this, and then we will get tomorrow's dinner ready. I just rinsed off some green onions. and my cutting board. I have a whole bunch of green onions here. I'm not gonna need all of that for tonight's dinner, but since I have them washed, I'm just gonna prep all of them because I don't have plans to use them tomorrow, but in case I decide to use them any point this week. Oh, I might use them for tomorrow night's dinner. I was meaning tomorrow's dinner party prep. But I'm just gonna get all of them chopped up and I'll pop them in the fridge and we'll use what we use tonight. And I'm sure this would be delicious on tomorrow night's dinner too. I like both the green and white part of the green onion, so I will cut both the green and white part. I usually don't eat the very, very tops, but I just mix those together and we like that. I like the crunch and freshness that a green onion can give to dishes. This is my first time using my new cutting board, which is kind of cool. Okay, so we're gonna pop that in the fridge for now. I'm gonna clean up my little mess here. I've got a couple little ingredients I need to put away. I think these ingredients go in the fridge. That needs to be recycled and go in the pantry. And then unfortunately, I've got to repackage these pot stickers. Yeah, I'm just gonna put that into a freezer bag. We'll get this cleaned up and I'll meet you back here when we start prepping tomorrow's dinner. I haven't talked about my food recycler in a while. I've had this for a good 4 or 5 months now, and I love it. I can link it down below for you if you're interested in reading more about it. I think I've emptied it since I got it probably 6 times. And when I empty it, I just put the recycled organic bits into my garden beds. Yep, that was one way to open up this bag. Now on my list for a dinner party that I have coming, well, no, I don't have a dinner party other than this one I'm having this weekend scheduled at my house. Probably won't have another one at my house till after the holidays, but I really want to try making homemade soup dumplings. So if any of you guys have any good recipes or videos to watch on homemade soup dumplings, I would greatly appreciate that. When I went shopping today, I went to the Dollar Tree, but I still have to get that bag out of my car, and I bought 4 things of scissors. I don't know about where at your house, but I can't seem to keep scissors in this drawer. So when I go get that, I'm gonna cut the ingredient or the directions off this bag and I'll just throw them in here. Tonight's dinner is basically done. So let's get started on tomorrow's dinner. The cool thing about this new cutting board that I have is it has 2 sides. It has a composite side for cutting raw meat, and then it has your wood side for cutting vegetables and things like that. And this is gonna be the first time I'm using this for some raw meat. I just realized I didn't have the lights on. So I just turned the lights on and I just put a pot holder down so that this doesn't go anywhere. And for tomorrow night's dinner, we are going to make, I'm not sure how to pronounce that. I will obviously link this recipe down in the description box for you. And this recipe says to, if you can, cut up your chicken the day before and marinate it, but that you don't have to do that. It just tastes better if you do. Since I have a second here, I'm gonna go ahead and follow the directions there. And I'm going to cut the chicken, put it in the dish we're gonna bake tomorrow night's dinner in, and we're gonna marinate the chicken in the dish we're gonna bake so that we get one less dish dirty. I have 2 large chicken breasts here. This is basically a chicken and rice dish. These are huge. I'm gonna get a paper towel and pat them dry. Not necessary because we are not going to be searing this chicken, but just easier to work with it. These chicken breasts are so big. I'm going to cut them in half. And then I'm going to cut them into cubes. You could use chicken thighs for this as well. Whatever you prefer. I prefer chicken breast in a recipe like this where you're not really grilling or getting a good char on the chicken. I prefer chicken breast when I grill, and when I bake things like this, I prefer chicken breast. And I just remembered I'm supposed to chop up an onion, and I probably should have done that first before I chopped up this chicken, but oh well. This recipe calls for Campari tomatoes chopped, or Campari tomatoes chopped. I don't know what those are, so let me go do a quick Google search, and I'm trying to figure out, oh, it also calls for a spice that I don't know what it is. I've never heard of it before, which is the name of this chicken dish. So let me go Google, I do have date syrup. I'm gonna go Google that spice to see if it's a blend of different spices that I have on hand. And if I don't have it, what I can use as a substitution. So I'll be right back. Good news, that spice is a spice blend, and all of the spices that are in that blend are spices that I have on hand. And the Campari tomatoes are basically like a really large cherry tomato. Well, I have a few tomatoes left coming out of my garden. Well, they technically have been out of my garden for about 2 weeks, but they've been ripening on a table over there. And I'm gonna go ahead and just cut these up and put them in here. I'm also gonna cut up some shallots. This recipe calls for shallots. And then I am going to just take all the spices out that are in that spice blend. These tomatoes could ripen a little bit more, but this is what I have, so this is what we're gonna use. It'll add some nice acidity to it, this dish, I'm assuming, because we're gonna add a ton of really warm spices. I think I was saying something. Did I interrupt myself? And now I can't remember what I was saying. Basically, I have all the ingredients I need for this spice blend. Normally, I don't put tomatoes in my fridge, but because this is gonna be cooked down anyway, I don't think it'll be a problem that I am gonna be refrigerating these tomatoes for just a little bit. And if you didn't have fresh tomatoes, if I didn't have these fresh tomatoes, you could probably just pull out a can of diced tomatoes, and that would work too. So I think I want to leave these shallots in kind of like longer stick shape, just to add a little bit of a different texture. I'm not exactly sure what the recipe at this point says to do with these shallots, but let's get some space on this cutting board. And these are some strong, spicy shallots. Woo! I should have put something down underneath this cutting board too, but this is the last thing I need to cut, so we're just gonna go with it. Okay. Get that in there. Now the hardest part about this dish is going to be to get out all the spices, but it's not going to take very long. So let me grab out all the spices we need. This has a lot of really yummy warm spices, so this feels like it would be really good for this time of year in the fall because we have cinnamon, cumin, sweet paprika, coriander, allspice, clove, nutmeg, and cardamom, along with one of my favorite spices that I don't use that often, and I gotta find it, sumac. Now, I'm not gonna really measure anything because the recipe that I'm looking at calls for making a big quantity. So what I'm gonna do is look at this spice blend recipe, and I am going to just kind of look at the ratios and go for that. So the biggest spice component to this is cinnamon. So I'm gonna tell you what I'm gonna do. So that if I ever wanna recreate this, I can do it. So I'm gonna do 1 teaspoon cinnamon. And then the next biggest one is black peppercorns, or black pepper. So I'm gonna do a heaping teaspoon of black pepper. I'm gonna do a heaping teaspoon of salt. Maybe 2 teaspoons of salt, because that was a lot of chicken. And we're gonna add a lot of rice to this as well. I'm gonna put my spices over there once I use them. This smells good already. I love these warm spices in savory dishes. It's something that I'm relatively kind of new to. I'm gonna add a teaspoon of cumin, teaspoon of coriander, a heaping, let's see. Let's do 1 teaspoon of paprika. That's sweet paprika. And then these sweeter, that's cardamom. Spices, we're not gonna put quite as much. I'm gonna do 1/4 teaspoon of cardamom. Nutmeg I have to grind. I'm gonna do 1/8 of a teaspoon of clove. I could have probably mixed these all into a dish and then put them in here, but this is gonna work. I'm gonna do 1/4 teaspoon allspice, and probably just about 1/4 teaspoon of nutmeg. And then the last spice is going to be sumac. If you've never cooked with sumac, it is so good. I'm gonna do 1/3 of a teaspoon of sumac. It's very, very citrusy, and it's delicious. Okay, I have a pile of dishes over there that I'm accumulating. I can get these spices put away right in here. My winter goal is to go through all my drawers and cupboards, and they all need a good deep clean, and they all need to be organized. But that's a project for another day. Okay, so I have pomegranate molasses here, and we are gonna add a few more ingredients to our chicken. I've got some spices here that when I pulled the spices out of the drawer, they ended up on my counter. And I had to order this on Amazon. I can find pomegranate syrup in my grocery store, like a fancy or higher end grocery store, but I cannot find this pomegranate molasses or date syrup. Wait, this is pomegranate molasses. This is so funny. So the last few recipes that have called for pomegranate molasses, I've used date syrup. And now I don't have any date syrup because I can find that at my grocery store. And I have pomegranate molasses that I bought on Amazon. That's so funny. So this recipe actually calls for date syrup, and I was just at the grocery store where I could have bought date syrup, but this is what I thought I needed. This is what I have, so I'm gonna use this. They taste pretty similar. This is a little bit more tart, so I'm gonna add a tablespoon of brown sugar because this is definitely a little bit more tart than date syrup. That's so funny. That's how it goes though. This is a real kitchen. You and I are just in my kitchen cooking. So I'm gonna probably add like probably like 2 compacted tablespoons of dark brown sugar. And that'll work as a substitute. And let's see what else we could add to this. Anything else we need? Yes, we need more stuff. We need garlic powder. And then I already added the salt and pepper I want for this recipe. So I don't need to add any more of that. We are gonna add some tomato sauce. Now this recipe calls for just plain tomato sauce. Josh and I did a taste test of marinara sauces, and I have quite a few marinara sauces that need to be used up. I gave a bunch away to some friends and family because I think we did 9 taste tests and we couldn't go through 9. And so I'm just gonna substitute a little bit of marinara sauce, and I think that should be fine. And I'm gonna add some olive oil. And that is basically it. So we have 2 more ingredients we need to add to this, but it's the rice. We're gonna cook the rice in the oven with this chicken, and I don't wanna add that now. So the only thing I'll have to do for tomorrow night's dinner, and I will show you what that looks like when we get to it, but we will add 2 cups of rinsed basmati rice and 4 cups of boiling water, it says. But this already smells really, really good. And then you can serve this with whatever kind of vegetable you would like on the side. But the idea is that you cook the chicken and the rice together, and just so easy. So this is where the recipe said if you want, you can go ahead and just add your rice right now in your boiling water and throw this in the oven. But if you can prep this the day before, the chicken will have time to marinate, and it'll be just that much more delicious. Now I'm gonna go grab a piece of foil. I'm gonna pop this in the fridge. This will be the same foil we use tomorrow when we cook our chicken and rice. I've got a couple more dishes I need to put away over here, and then I think our dumplings should be ready to eat. You saw that I just opened those up, and they were looking like they were a little bit dry on the top. I did not mix the sauce over top of all of the dumplings. So what I did is I just spooned the sauce over top of the dumplings, and I kind of rolled them around. Now, I don't know if the recipe said to do it or not. I've got to relook. Fully coat and evenly distribute the base, nestle the dumplings, pinched side into the baking dish, spoon over the liquid over the top of the dumplings. I did not read that part, so when I opened this originally, the dumplings that had sauce on all sides, I could tell were cooked a little bit better than the ones that I had just put on there and I didn't spoon any of the sauce over. So definitely if you make this, make sure you spoon that sauce over top. And it says bake for 15 to 20 minutes, but some dumplings can take up to 30 minutes depending on what dumplings you use, which makes sense because there's a whole variety of frozen dumplings out there. I think these are done now. So I just rotated each of the dumplings in the sauce, and they look a lot better. They definitely looked, a couple of them, a little bit dry, where I had not gotten the curry base over top of the dumplings. I'm gonna call Josh and see if he wants to come down and give this a taste test. We got a couple more things we're gonna add to the top. So I'm gonna call him. All right, he is coming down to taste. Now, one suggestion is to put chili crunch on here. Another suggestion is to put some sesame seeds, which I definitely want. I like that crunch. And then obviously we're gonna put green onions. You could put cilantro, which I have, but I don't feel like chopping, so we're not gonna add any of that. This is a brand new thing of sesame seeds, so get to take the top off. Ooh, that makes it really pretty. That'll add a nice little crunch. And then I just learned, I was watching someone's Trader Joe's haul, and they said you can buy chili crunch at Trader Joe's without the oil. And I am gonna look for that next time I'm there because that sounds delicious. I would totally add that to this if I had it, and I would add that to a ton of different delicious things. And whenever we do end up, you and I, making homemade dumplings together, I wanna try making chili crunch myself. The reason I like the chili crunch from Trader Joe's is that it is made with olive oil. I don't know if Josh likes chili crunch. I love chili crunch. That's probably good. Josh, do you like chili crunch?
Yeah.
Okay, he likes chili crunch. And then the last thing I'm gonna add to this.
Is there broccoli on?
Yeah, can you smell broccoli?
Upstairs, yeah.
Oh, okay. I don't know if you can hear Josh, but he said, he came down and he said, is there broccoli? He can smell it upstairs. Probably the dumplings you can smell too, because the dumplings have like cabbage and stuff in them, so they...
I think the broccoli just has such a distinct smell.
Yeah.
It penetrates.
Do you want some rice with your taste test? Okay. Yes, for the taste test, you don't really need 3, but I'm gonna give Josh 3 to start. And then I'm gonna just have the dumpling. I think, well, let's taste it first, but I think I could have definitely added 2 cans of coconut milk and the same amount of the other seasonings, but that's what that's looking like that.
Looks great.
Okay, so when I actually sit down to eat dinner, I will warm up some cauliflower rice and I'll eat this over cauliflower rice. Crunchy. I can hear you got some chili crunch. I don't think
I got some chili crunch.
Is it spicy? I was gonna say, I don't think
Not crazy spicy, but it's really crunchy.
Really crunchy. I don't think I got any chili crunch on mine.
I really like the dough. Did you make these?
No, I did not. I think you've had these before. I've made these for you. They're the ones from Costco.
They're good.
You like how it cooked up in the sauce, and they're not fried and crispy. You kind of like how they're soft.
I like the softness.
I do too.
Yeah. I think I'd probably go either way.
Flavor-wise, very good. Texture-wise, very good. I would absolutely make this again because it's so much easier than doing it on the stove. The one change I think I would do is I would just do 2 cans of coconut milk, same amount of dumplings, and that way you have more of a sauce. So if you want to eat it over rice, or if you wanted to have a big bowl of steamed vegetables, you could put that sauce over top. One of our go-to restaurants when we go out is Thai, and because I've been trying to keep my blood sugar down, I've been ordering a big bowl of curry and just having chicken and veggies in it. And then I put that over top of, instead of rice, I ask for a big bowl of steamed vegetables. And so I could see this type of application where you just have either a big bowl of rice or a big bowl of vegetables or something, and you pour the sauce over the top. But this is very good.
Very good. I think it could be a little saucier, like you said.
You think so too?
But very good.
The rest of the flavors are good. I don't think I would change the amount of curry I put in there or the sesame oil. Now the recipe did say, oh, there we go. I got some chili crunch, which I really do like. You like chili crunch, just maybe not as much as that first bite.
I think I got all of them in my first bite.
I was gonna say something. I just looked back and I cannot remember what I was gonna say. Something about the recipe did say.
Fish sauce?
Oh, yeah, did you just see that?
I just scanned the recipe and fish sauce really
jumped
stuck
out.
Yeah.
Josh is not a big fan of fish sauce when I cook with it at home. When we go out to restaurants and there's fish sauce and things.
I notice its presence.
Oh, you do? Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, remember
it's not my favorite thing.
Yeah, so I did leave that out. I was just gonna tell you, I left that out. Are you glad I left it out? Yeah.
Yeah, I appreciate that.
If you like really umami flavors, then definitely you would probably like fish sauce because it's got really good umami flavor, but it's just not a family favorite of ours. So that is tonight's dinner. Definitely would make that again. And last night's dinner, definitely, we didn't have it, we had it for leftovers last night, but the night before, the meatball, do you want to give your thoughts on that?
That was good too.
Yeah.
I liked good balance. Noodles were good. I mean, you had a bunch of cheese on it. That's good.
Yeah, it was very rich.
Yeah. Tasty.
Yeah. Did you like those meatballs from Costco?
Yeah, I'm not a big chicken meatball guy,
Okay.
but they were good. They were well seasoned and I like the flavor.
You would have preferred like a beef meatball?
Yeah, or I guess is there like pork or something?
Yeah.
Maybe beef and pork.
Yeah, usually like an Italian style meatball would be like half beef, half pork. And then Josh's thoughts on the Rice Krispies, since he's right here, is he thought that I should have added the entire bag of marshmallows. They needed more of that chew I usually add a whole bag of marshmallows when I make Rice Krispies, and I only added a little over half, 10 ounces instead of 16.
Though, but they were almost like too crispy. Like, I think they need a little bit more like moisture, which probably the marshmallow.
Yeah, the chewiness that you want from a marshmallow.
Very crispy.
Yeah.
As is.
Okay, well, I will see you back tomorrow when we put tomorrow's dinner together and we get that in the oven. Well, it is the following week. We did not end up having this meal that I prepped the day I prepped all of the food for the October dinner party. We went to swim lessons after I did all that prep. And then you know what I wanted for dinner? I wanted pho. So Josh took me out to pho and we had that for dinner. So when I got home, I actually threw this chicken that I prepped in the freezer because the following day we had the dinner party, and then Saturday morning we decided to take a little weekend adventure. Just one night, my little family, we went away and we came home last night, which was Sunday night, and Josh and I are about to go do a big, deep, clean, organizational project. We're gonna bring you all along for that, but I knew that today this would benefit us. So this is the chicken that we marinated. I put foil on it. I threw it in the freezer. I just pulled it out. I'm gonna let it thaw. We're gonna go down, do a big organizational project, and then when we're done, or when we're almost done, and we're hungry for dinner, I will come up, we'll make a yogurt sauce to go with this. We'll add our rice, we'll add our broth, which reminds me, I need to get broth out of the freezer because I am out of it jarred downstairs. Here is some homemade chicken stock that we will let thaw while our chicken thaws. So I'm really glad that I took the time to prep this because now we can focus on this big organizational project and I don't have to worry about dinner. So I'll see you back when we make dinner tonight. Well, let me just tell you, I am very grateful that I have had time earlier to prep most of tonight's dinner because we have been working downstairs all day and I'm just taking a little break from downstairs so I can come up here and get dinner in the oven. I was thinking that we were supposed to cook the rice and the chicken in chicken broth, but then I was rereading my recipe and the recipe actually says water, boiling water, which I could do. I could just put a kettle on and boil some water, but I've already thawed this chicken broth and I think it'll just add a little extra protein, a little extra flavor to use up this chicken broth. You do not have to do this step according to the recipe. If you wanted to skip this step, put your kettle on. This will boil faster anyway. This is not quite 4 cups, so I will use whatever this chicken broth is, plus I will also add water. This is some of the best chicken broth I've ever made in a while, so might as well use it. It's delicious. 420 degrees. That's what we're supposed to cook this at. And I'm gonna go ahead and get my yogurt sauce made up in my Vitamix. I just brought up, this is some freeze-dried liver for the dogs because they're completely out of dog treats up here. But I also grabbed some freeze-dried onions because I'm out of my onion powder and freeze-dried cilantro from last year's garden. I don't have any fresh cilantro in my house or green onions or anything because I haven't gone grocery shopping or anything like that. So we're just gonna use that and we're just gonna make up a yogurt sauce. You can use yogurt, you can use sour cream. I might use a little bit of both because I think I'm almost out of yogurt. If I had a fresh jalapeno, I would add that into this. That would be so good. I love keeping a yogurt or like an herby green sauce on hand. It's kind of become my new go-to, especially since I've been trying to keep my blood sugar down a little bit and I'm eating a lot of protein and veggies. Having a really yummy herb sauce to go on everything has been really nice. I make it a little different every time, just whatever I have on hand. I've been really liking, this is probably my new favorite go-to yogurt. It's the Kirkland Organic Greek yogurt, non-fat. It's just delicious. It's got a little bit of sourness to it, but it's not crazy sour. And then I'm gonna add a little bit of sour cream just because I wanna make a little bit more than the yogurt I have here. gonna add some freeze-dried onions. Since I don't have any onion powder, mine as well. I should have blended up my onions for my onion powder before making this, but I didn't. Some freeze-dried cilantro. This is the last of the freeze-dried cilantro I grew in last year's garden. This year's garden, my cilantro didn't do anything. So I'm glad I had a lot from last year. Let's see what else I have over here. Let's add some garlic. My broth is up to a boil. I'm gonna add some cumin. No, this is coriander. We'll add a little cumin because those spices are in this dish. I'm gonna go ahead and take a break from this. This broth is so good. I'm gonna add 2. We need 4 cups total, so I'll just top that with really hot tap water. My water can come out of my tap extremely hot. Oh my goodness, that heat of that broth, touching those spices, I can smell the chicken broth and I can smell all those spices. It smells incredible. I'm gonna stir this up just a little bit so the rice is kind of evenly distributed throughout this whole dish. I was thinking you could probably, if I make this again, I would do 1 cup of rice and 1 whole packet of cauliflower rice, but I'm making it according to the directions this first time. Now what she says to do is cover with a piece of parchment paper and then cover with foil. We want to trap in all that steam. Into the oven this goes. Not sure how long this is supposed to cook for. I'm assuming a good 50 minutes. Let me take a look. My recipe's over here. Bake in the preheated oven at 420 for 45 minutes. Remove the cover, bake for an additional 10 minutes. Transfer the oven to broil or 450 and broil for 5 to 7 minutes until you have a nice golden crust. Garnish with Maldon flaky salt and chopped parsley. I think in her video though, that's where she said, because I got this from Instagram, she said that it's good to serve with a yogurt herb sauce. So that's where I'm getting that idea. So that's what we're gonna do. We lost power today for a second, so it says it's 2:31. I have no idea what time it is. I think it's like 5:15 right now at this point. So let's finish our sauce. And what I did for this recipe, because this was a recipe that I found on Instagram, and it did not have, I couldn't find a blog post. Sometimes when I find recipes on Instagram, I can find that person's blog and then I can print the recipe from their blog. Sometimes I can't find a blog. They just have the recipe written in the comment section of the video. So what I do is I go to Instagram on my computer, I copy and paste the recipe, I paste that into a note, and then I print the note. So if you're ever wondering how to print a recipe from just an Instagram post, or I'm sure TikTok, you could probably do the same thing. You can do it that way. This would be really good with some pickled red onions too, I think. I have pickled banana peppers, so we'll use those instead. I don't have any pickled red onions, but if I did, that would be good too. And because I use freeze-dried onions, this is gonna be a nice and thick sauce. Even though we used yogurt, and yogurt tends to be a little bit thinner than, say, a sour cream based. I just splashed that on my cheek. Let me wipe that off. I'm definitely getting hungry at this point. I think I got the yogurt off my face. That's good. That'll only get better as it sits for a few minutes and the onion hydrates and the cilantro hydrates, but I don't think I'm gonna add anything to that. Like I said, if I had a jalapeno, I would throw that in here too. I have a bunch of frozen jalapenos that was gonna turn into some hot sauce, which I probably still will do. But I think I might throw some of my hot peppers into the freeze dryer and turn them into a powder that I could add into something like this. So my Greek yogurt's done. I'm gonna get this in a dish That's gonna bake. Let me set a timer and I'll see you back when we take the foil off. I've been downstairs working with Josh. I just came up here and it smells like the best curry ever. Oh my goodness, it smells good. So if the texture and taste is anything like the smell, we're in for a really good dinner tonight. There's still definitely some liquid in there. Looks like the rice is probably pretty cooked. Oh my goodness, my friend, it smells so good. So I'm gonna close this. This with peas in it would be really good. I'm gonna turn this up. Let's see. We're gonna do 450 for about 10 minutes. And I'm gonna set a timer. Then I'm gonna head back downstairs. We are almost done getting downstairs cleaned up. Huge project. Some of the stuff that I moved that was downstairs is now in our living room. That'll be a tomorrow project where I then need to go through that stuff, get that stuff put away. But downstairs should be cleaned by the time we are ready to eat dinner. I just set a timer for 15 minutes. Oh my goodness. I think putting it on broil was absolutely the right, or not broil, but I put it on 450. Look how nice and caramelized that is. This is gonna be a little hard to scrub, but I think it's gonna be worth it. Let me get this over here. Ooh, it's heavy. I'm gonna do a taste test with you right now. I will let you know Josh's thoughts on this dinner after he tastes it, after we sit down to enjoy it together as a family. I just wanna dish this out to show you what it looks like. So the rice looks nice and fluffy. There's no excess liquid in here at all. It looks like there's the perfect amount of moisture to rice ratio. I like how this got charred here. Josh is finishing up a big cleaning project that we've been working on all day. So I thought I would give this a taste test while it's perfectly hot, and then we'll sit down to dinner and enjoy it. And then I can give you what Josh's opinion on this dish is. So hot. If it smells anything like it tastes, this is gonna be incredible. Because I've been going downstairs in between the cooking, I then come up here and I've had our door shut between our living room and our kitchen, and I open that door and it's like, oh my goodness, it smells so good in here. I'm gonna try the chicken first with a little bit of the yogurt. Maybe I should try it without the yogurt sauce first, just to taste what the chicken tastes like. Oh, and I've got the onions too, or the shallots. I almost forgot what I did because I did it like 4 days ago. That has such good flavor. Now I'm gonna try the chicken with the yogurt sauce. Has the perfect level of sweetness. Now I'm gonna try a bite with everything. The rice, the chicken, the tomato, a little bit of that shallot. That's a big bite. Oh my goodness. This is a dish I will absolutely be making again. Now I did do one substitution, I believe. I used pomegranate molasses instead of date syrup, and I added a little bit of sugar to it. This is so good. Oh my goodness. I haven't been eating very much rice, and so this is a little bit of a treat to eat this rice. The chicken is perfectly tender. There's a good amount of seasoning, like spice flavor, but it is not spicy to me at all. I think my family will like the level of spice. When I say spice, I mean like smoked paprika and all of those warm clove and allspice. It's not spicy to me at all. I will doctor mine up and make mine very spicy because I think this, if you like spicy, would be really good with hot sauce. Oh, I forgot I was gonna put some pickled peppers on it. That'll be good. My cowboy serrano peppers on this would be good. My dehydrated serrano peppers in oil would be good on this. Just red pepper flakes would be good on this. I am going to heat up some cauliflower rice, and I will eat the chicken mostly on cauliflower rice for myself, but my family will eat this rice. Josh is outside. I want him to do a taste test with you because this is so good. I want to hear his thoughts on it. I dished some up for Josh. He doesn't love yogurt sauce as much as I do, so I just put a little in the center and he can eat around it if he doesn't want to eat it. I'm just going to tell you my favorite dish that I made out of all of the dishes we've made. I honestly think it cooked up the best. I love the idea of cooking it really hot at the end to get a broil on it. This is so good. So good. I was trying to think, what were the other dishes I made? The pasta dish was really good too. What was the other dish? I didn't eat any of the Rice Krispies, and Josh said they were really good. I mean, all the Rice Krispies got eaten, but I should have added the entire bag of marshmallows with the Rice Krispies. That was Josh's input. 1, 2, 3. What was the other dish I did? It was a while ago. You all probably can remember because you just enjoyed seeing what I did, but was that all I did? Pasta, Rice Krispie. Was that all I did? Pasta, Rice Krispie, this one. I thought I did 4. I remember now. It was the Dumpling Bake. I think Josh, he's coming up. He just went to go get the garbage cans. The Dumpling Bake was so good. Josh gobbled that up. So I think that the way that Josh would rank these, well, I don't know yet because he hasn't tasted these, but the way I would rank them would most definitely be this, then the Dumpling Bake, then the pasta, then the Rice Krispies. The Rice Krispies probably would have been ranked higher. I mean, it's hard to say because Rice Krispies obviously are dessert and the rest of them are dinner. But because they weren't as chewy and they were a little drier just because they didn't have as many marshmallows as Josh is used to, I think that that's the way he would rank them. Pretty sure Josh is going to get the garbage cans. He was indeed getting the garbage. He just drove up. Oh. I want you to taste dinner. This is just a little sample.
Okay. This looks good. I'm so hungry too.
So we've been working all day today. It shouldn't be hot anymore.
That's really good. What is it?
I don't know how to pronounce it. It's a specific spice. It's the name of a spice blend, chicken and rice. Good. How do you think the rice is cooked? Because I cooked the rice and the chicken all together in the oven.
Good. Nice and soft.
Yeah. It's not like overcooked. And it's not undercooked. Real quick, these are the recipes we made. The dumplings, the pasta, Rice Krispies, and this one. Can you rank them for me? I already did my ranking, and I think they're going to be a little different than yours.
I mean, the Rice Krispies it's such a different thing.
I know.
They were good, though.
But I said it needed the whole bag of marshmallows.
Needed the whole bag of marshmallows.
Yeah.
It was good. I'd rank this very highly.
I rank this as number 1.
Can you repeat the first two? I'm very cold.
Okay. So, this one, dumplings. With the broccoli.
Dumplings were really good.
And then the pasta. Red sauce.
I'd say this, dumplings, pasta.
That's exactly what I said.
Okay.
Do you think the pasta would have been better if it was homemade meatballs?
Yes.
Okay.
For sure.
Okay. Okay, we'll go inside.
Okay.
Well, there you have our order of favorites. So fun. I love this idea, and I want to keep playing around with it. Those are my dishes of dumping everything into a baking dish and baking it in the oven because it really does save a lot of time and dishes, minus if you make a yogurt sauce. You could just put a dollop of yogurt on there or a dollop of sour cream if you wanted some creaminess and you didn't want to go through the effort of messing up a blender. And yeah, just so easy, so good, so convenient. I really enjoyed it. I'm going to look for more recipes like this. If you are interested in seeing more recipes like this, let me know. Thank you for being here. If you'd like some more dinner inspiration, let me pop some videos here. You can go enjoy between now and my next upload. I had a lot of fun with this one. I want to thank you for being here. Thank you for being you. And I can't wait to see you next time. We are going to sit down and have a delicious dinner. Bye, friend.